Hello. I just thought that with this little recording, or this section of the recording, I'd introduce you to a couple of poems. Students often want to know what to do in terms of getting to the meaning of the poem via the language. So much of what we do in class asks you to look at the how of something. And you've all probably been taught by your teachers that as soon as you see the word how in an instruction, you're supposed to link it to technical aspects. With this recording, I just want to give you a feel of a poem that is specifically female, I suppose, and for that reason I've asked one of my students to read it for you, because I think it really requires a female voice. It's called The Seduction. It's in front of you at the moment on the screen, and it was written by a young girl while she was still at school. I happen to think there's quite a lot in this that's autobiographical. I may be wrong, but I do remember seeing her speaking at the time in an old video that I can't find. It was filmed in the early 80s. And her name is, I'm hoping it is, and not just was, I hope she's still around, Ellen Macaulay. She wrote this poem called The Seduction. The theme was to be water that year, and I think you'll see that she integrates it really, really subtly. It's not that obvious, which I think makes it a better poem. But look, I'll shut up now and I'll just ask Lily, please thank her with raucous applause, to read the poem for us, and I'll be helping out every now and then with the boy's voice. He's not very pleasant. But anyway, hopefully you'll enjoy this, and I'll be comparing it to some readings of, or actually a video version of a Sylvia Plath poem called Mirror. I'll put the link to the YouTube clip for that particular short film based on Mirror by Sylvia Plath later, and we'll have a look at how each works in terms of how the poets use language, use the toolbox that's available to them. Okay, without any further ado, The Seduction by Ellen Macaulay, read by Lily Collins.
After the party, early Sunday morning, he led her to the quiet bricks of the Birkenhead docks, far past the silver stream of the traffic through the city, far from the blind windows of the tower blocks. He sat in the darkness, leather jacket creaking madly. He spat in the river, fumbled in a bag. He handed her the vodka, and she knocked it back like water. She giggled, drunk and nervous, and he muttered,
"Little slag."
She had met him at the party, and he'd danced with her all night. He'd told her about football, Sammy Lee and Ian Roche. She had nodded, quite enchanted, and her eyes were wide and bright, as he enthused about the milk cup and the next McGuigan fight. As he bought her more drinks, so she fell in love, with his eyes as blue as iodine, with the fingers that stroked her neck and thighs, and the kisses that tasted of nicotine. Then,
"I'll take you to the river, where I spend me afternoons, when I should be at school or eating me dinner, where I go by myself with me dad's magazines and a bag filled with shimmering sweet paint thinner."
So she followed him there, all high white shoes, all wide blue eyes and bottles of vodka, and sat in the dark, her head rolling forward, towards the frightening scum on the water, and talked about school in a disjointed way, about O-levels she'd been sitting in June. She chatted on and stared at the water, the mercy green as a septic wound. Then, when he swiftly contrived to kiss her, his kiss was scented by Listerine, and she stifled a giggle reminded of numerous stories from teenage magazines. When she discovered she was 3 months gone, she sobbed in the cool, locked darkness of her room and ripped up all her My Guy and her Jackie photo comics, until they were just bright paper, like confetti, strewn. On the carpet and on that day, she broke the heels of her high white shoes as she flung them at the wall, and realised for once that she was truly, truly frightened, and more than that, cheated by the promise of it all. For where now was the summer of her 16th year, full of glitzy fashion features and stories of romance, where a stranger could lead you to bright worlds, and how would you know if you never took a chance? Full of glossy horoscopes and glamour with the stammer, full of fresh fruit diets, how did she feel betrayed? Now with the softly rounded belly, she was sickened every morning by stupid promises only tactically made. Where were the glossy photographs of summer, day trips to Blackpool, jumping all the rides? And where now were the pink smiling faces in the picture, 3 girls paddling in the grey and frothy tide? So she cried that she had missed all the innocence around her and all the parties where you met the boy next door, where you walk hand in hand in an Acme Wonderland with a glass of Lager shandy on a carpeted floor. But then again, better to be smoking scented drugs or festering invisibly unemployed, better to destroy your life in modern man ways than to fall into despicable feminine void. Better to starve yourself like a precocious child than to walk through town with a belly huge and ripe, and better now to turn away, move away, fade away, than to have the neighbours whisper that you will always live the type.
Wow, thank you so much, Lily. Every time I hear that poem or read it, I get this feeling that it's so real and written so deeply that you can't help but thinking that it's kind of autobiographical because of that realism in it. In a moment, I'll post up the link to the video I'd like you to watch of another poem by another very famous female poet, Sylvia Plath. So that's the first one I want you to look at. In the meantime, have a look at it. If you want to find it online, of course it's there, or you can just have a look at it on this OneNote page. Start looking at it in terms of the original theme, which was water. How does she link that in? How does she integrate the original sort of platform that the competition that she was writing for suggested, which was water? How does she link it in a really adult way? So, if you were a kid, 10, 11 years old, and you were asked to write a poem about water, well, you might have certain sort of stereotypical ideas. But in this case, Ellen has chosen to do it in a very subtle way. It looks at the setting and the feeling and the location of where this occurred. I think it's a really, really sensational little poem by obviously a very, very sensitive young woman.